decorate our homes without reaching for the Pinterest boards, which end up requiring us to spend large amounts of money only for us to end with homes that look the same. Sure, also to be assisting us to say that, dishing out couple of tips, how we can upcycle our existing furniture pieces to fit today's style. Julia, a very good morning to you and welcome to Channel Africa and Out and About.
Good morning. How are you?
No, we are super. We are fantastic. We can't really complain. Let's just get in. I've just been thinking, and I was looking forward to this amazing conversation that myself and you are gonna have today.
Nice.
Many people get their designs ideas from sites like Pinterest, which can sometimes lead to homes that look the same. I mean, as an interior designer yourself, how do you guide clients to discover their own unique style rather than just copying a trend that they saw online?
I mean, that's a very common problem that we have right now. But usually as an interior designer, I really start by listening to the client, right? By doing so, you need to understand the client's DNA, really what they like, what they don't like, where they come from, what are the kind of things that they want into their space. How big is the space? Will the pieces that they put into the space work with the colors that they want to really put into their space? So at our daily routines, like favorite memories, what are those pictures? What does that look like? Do they want to have that into their space? Really just emphasize on a design language which really combines timeless elements, which will be your materials. What kind of materials would they want into their space? Do they have pets? How do you incorporate that? So you'll usually find apartments which obviously all look the same, but how to make that different and really personalize to your own style is just by adding your DNA, what you really like. It could be pieces, it could be an antique piece, it could be a piece from your great-grandparents, which you really want to add into the space. So that really creates a different vibe, and it defines how your space really just will look like ultimately.
Yeah, you just spoke about the antique piece. I mean, for someone who just found that great old furniture, I mean, how do they figure out what is it that they must do about it? What are those key elements of the piece, like its shape, material, history, that they should look to consider before deciding on a new look?
Look, so antique pieces are quite tricky. So people tend on to bite on to what more than what they can chew. So someone will buy a lot of pieces thinking they want to upcycle all of them, but really just stick to small pieces like a side table, like maybe perhaps like a bookshelf. If you work with a side table, you can really just sand it down, and maybe if you want to paint it, you can paint it. This is really just 2 steps. Instead of taking something or like an ottoman or like an occasional chair, you can just take that and reupholster it instead of buying something that will have you want to change the chair, the legs or the backing of it or the seating of it. So most mistakes people do is biting off more what they can choose. So buy something small that you're going to sand down and stain or paint, and then work from then onwards. Build up that confidence from those small pieces that you get.
So I can like get it like an old table. I mean, I've got an old table at home, so sort of I can sort of a carpenter to be exactly assist me in terms of how to really make it look much better.
Yeah. You can get a carpenter, but also sometimes people prefer doing things themselves, and also some people work on a budget.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if you've got a side table that you wanna reuse, buy sandpaper, get a stain, and then that's it, done. Or get paint and paint it down. I think that's what a carpenter would then do. So DIYs usually come from antique pieces, reupholstered pieces. So do it yourself.
And how big is the trend of upcycling? I mean, I also want to find out, like, is it more people, are they really doing it, or it's just that people are just, is it? But how big is it? Is there a lot of uptake? That's what I'm trying to say.
Really, I think it depends on your personality and really where we are as a community in the design space, right? So there are people who genuinely like to reupholster and buy secondhand things. There are people who enjoy thrifting, and they will have those pieces as well as they are within their spaces. And there are just people who just love newness, who love the modern, and really don't want to go through the admin of reupholstering furniture. So, and in terms of where we are in the design space as a country or as a continent, I mean, with South Africans, there are people who really do upholster pieces. But from my experience, I mean, I've traveled to Amsterdam, where I believe that there's a lot of nice antique pieces which people usually reupholster. So I think that's one of the countries where people really love antique pieces and hone into really just reupholstering furniture and secondhand. They also sell. They have a lot of secondhand shops. So I think within South Africa, we need to get into that a little bit more. I think it'll help us in growing the economy and really just repurposing furniture.
And one thing I like about it, when you upholster something, it's also quite cheap as well. So it's not like you were talking about to say we don't have to really spend like an arm and a leg, you know, for me to go and get like a new ottoman, you know. I don't have to go, or a new couch. I don't have to. If I do have an old one, which I still can go and take it in to someone, you know, it can still look good, you know.
Yeah, 100%. So it is quite cheap, but you then also need to, it requires a lot of time.
Yes.
Because there are shops that buy antique pieces and sell them for an arm and a leg because of the authenticity of it, right? So, but then you then need to find the time to actually go out and look for these second-hand shops or really just source it out. There are people who have garage sales. They have those antique pieces that, I mean, they don't want any more in their spaces. So it requires a lot of, it is cheap to do, but it requires a lot of time, which people don't have.
But I mean, don't you think that the second-hand shops will sort of take advantage of that? Because, and I've realized that whenever you go and look for something that's like quite, you know, and it's got an, you know, that, bit of like an old material and or antique, you know, it's for me, it just becomes more expensive where, you know, people take advantage of that. Isn't it?
Yeah, people do definitely do take advantage of that. They really do. You are correct in that saying that.
And in terms of this, so talk us through about a common mistake that people make when they're trying upcycling for the first time, and what's your advice in terms of fixing it?
Yeah, I think I did mention this in the beginning. So common mistakes that people make is that they buy big pieces. They buy pieces that require a lot of work. So then reworking that object or that piece then would, at the end, it would look like I should have just bought a new one. You understand? So really just start by buying something small, like a pedestal, like I said, like a couch, an ottoman. That's something you can really work on easily, because you can just buy furniture, you can just buy sponge and reupholster the piece. There's certain tools that you should, if you're really a DIY person, there's certain tools that just always should have, that you really don't have to go and buy new tools to actually reupholster or rework a certain piece of furniture, you know. So I think that's one of my biggest thing. It's really just buying pieces that are just going to overwhelm you, which I don't think people should do. Start small and then just build up from then onward.
Yeah, you spoke about the tools, which you said, you know, at least have a sandpaper, you know. I mean, what more can we exactly stock up and make sure that we have, you know, like in my toolbox, what exactly, I mean, how will my toolbox exactly look like? Surely I should have a screwdriver, you know, I should have a hammer. I mean, what are the things that I exactly have inside? Because, you know, but also, you know, my worry is, do you know how to use it? That's my worry. It's like, you know, and I mean, if I'm not that great in terms of using it, I can have an amazing toolbox, but you find that I don't know how to use it, you know. I mean, what is it that can I have inside my toolbox?
Look, I think besides knowing how to use all the things in the toolbox, I think it's important for every household to have. It's like having a, what do you call this thing? A first aid kit.
Mm.
I mean, not everyone is trained on a first aid kit,
Yeah.
but when push comes to shove, you'll get it right, you know. So I think the basic things that you would have inside a hand tool, a screwdriver, hammer, utility knife, sandpaper, a drill. I mean, if something falls apart, you can literally just go on YouTube quickly, see how to use a drill. It doesn't have to be a big industrial drill. Something small, handy. There are also screwdrivers which are electrical. You don't have to buy different types of screwdrivers. You just buy an electrical one if you're a lady living alone, those type of things. So you can have gloves. Definitely gloves are very important.
Yes.
Masks, really just drop cloths, things that you would need to have in your space, like I said, like a first aid kit, you know. So I definitely believe that every household needs something like that within their spaces.
My guest this morning is Julia, who's an interior designer. Julia, who's currently talking to us in terms of how we can exactly innovate your home. How can we exactly, if you've got like a piece of exactly an old furniture, how you can exactly do that to make sure that your home literally looks like, you know, more, sort of like, when you come in, you kind of like feel like wow. But I mean, how do I deal about it? I mean, also, is it? Do you, Julia? Do you still have to like sort of have an agreement with your partner as well? On that front. I mean, it's like me. I guess I'll have to speak to Madame about it. How exactly? But I mean, the issue is, are we agreeing or not agreeing, or our taste is different? Because if I like really antique stuff, and she's like, no, but I really like what new stuff. How we can make sure that
Modern.
we reach each other there? Especially, I mean, yourself as an interior designer, how do you make sure, how do you get those type of situations around?
Look, there is a way to create a balance between modern and old, right? So usually if you move into an apartment, it is modern, standard. That's how it is. So that's what she would like, obviously.
Yes.
It's definitely her look and feel. It's done. But for you, that's not it. You want to add more pieces. So it definitely, you don't want to overwhelm the space. So maybe you want to have an old antique clock that would be in the space. It's something that she can, I mean, try and live with, because they both blend between modern and antique and old and vintage. You don't want to overwhelm the space as well. So just put a few pieces here and there. You can have a clock. You can have an occasional chair, a recliner one that's vintage but reupholstered with a nice cowhide. That's how you then break the old into the new. They've got these arm recliner chairs that look old, but then take that, remove the old material, add a nice cowhide, add a velvety touch to it, change the legs into a nice modern rounded wood legs, So those type of things, you can reupholster to, what do we call this? You can reupholster to really just blend in the old and the new, and then it really just looks like a different piece that you obviously can never get anywhere. It's like a statement piece, rather, So yeah, I think that's one of the ways you can do it.
You spoke about that you probably you travel a lot to Amsterdam, and there are secondhand shops as well. Are we seeing that trend continuing? I mean, here is it really, or the take up is just very slow? I mean, in South Africa or in the continent of Africa? Yeah.
Definitely the take-up is very slow. Like I said, people love new, everything new. And it's a very, very few people who actually love antique and love a different style of things and of furniture. And, well, like I said, with Amsterdam, everything is the buildings, they've got a lot of second-hand shops. And really, people buy into that. People love that, And within SA, I haven't seen a lot of that. It is also not because there are not designers who actually do that, but I think it's really just the people wanting the new, the modern. It's a very, very few people that really love antique pieces and upcycled pieces. So we will get there.
Yeah.
But it then requires a few risks. So people buy into what they see. So in hotels, you get a lot of upcycled, a lot of antique-looking hotels, which will be like a cute boutique hotel. People love going to that, but I don't think some people would want that into their space, So, yeah, it's just that. But we will get there within time.
Julia, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate it. That was Julia from Jules Interior, who's an interior design. You are still tuned into Channel Africa on www.channelafrica.co.za. On DSTV, we are on channel 802, as well as OpenView HD channel 628. And that brings us to the end of the first hour of Out and About. Please continue to engage with us on our social media pages, Facebook, on Channel Africa, on Instagram and X as well, Channel Africa 1, TikTok, Channel Africa 1. Also send us that WhatsApp number if you really want to chat to us on a +276 406 9126, +276 406 9126. In a short while, we get on to the latest news update. We'll tell you what's coming up exactly at 10 o'clock on top of the hour this morning. Good morning.
Out and About comes to you every Saturday, 9 till 12 noon, Central African Time.